Welcome to the Perfect Blend podcast.
My name is Sara.
And my name is Shenelle. We'll be serving you the perfect blend of beauty, skincare, overall wellness ideas, and discussion. We'll just sit back, relax, and talk shit about life, just like girlfriends should. Now let's get back to it.
I'm cold, girl. I'm cold.
Are you really? It's
I'm wearing
doozy outside, let me tell you. We are completely snowed in.
Pardon?
We are completely snowed in.
Oh, yeah. I opened the door this morning and I was like, what the fuck?
Yup.
It's so cold. And the snow was like
so
right
cool.
at the door.
But the last night, the snow was so cool. Like it was like really like, I don't know how to tell you, but when we looked out of the window, I was like, oh my God, this is like waves of snow. It was waves of snow going across the building. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. I mean,
you know what? You definitely got a different vantage point than I did because, you know, houses are way lower. So what I seen was just like, it just looked like it was like snowing. Not necessarily. It looked like blowing snow. It didn't look like waves like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I can understand how you seen waves because probably was.
It was. I mean, it was weird because it wasn't like at first it wasn't sticking to the floor. At first it was just like
it was just blowing around.
Yeah, it was so small, the snow, like snowflakes. And then after a while, it was just like, well, shit, girlfriend. Like, this is just packing it in.
The snow is not going nowhere.
Yeah. I mean, I'm okay because I'm at home, right? But I was like, literally like, are people going to go to work? And obviously people are going to go to work, but it's just like, that sucks. Yeah. Like, I'm completely snowed in right now. Like, my car is completely snowed in and I don't have a shovel. So it's like.
Yeah, because you live in a building. So it's like.
There you go.
Where's the shovel? Where's the need for a shovel?
There isn't.
I guess it's time to invest in one.
You know what? I might have to. I was just thinking maybe because we bought some salt last year. So I'm just thinking maybe just pour some salt on it and call it a day. Maybe.
You're going to pour your car?
Not in my car. No. Around my car.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, on your car, girl. Like a bad idea. Salt and metal, I don't think that's it's a bad idea.
If I want some rust, then maybe for sure. Yeah.
Yes.
So have you been? How's everything?
So I've been good, better than, the last couple of weeks. I feel like a lot of people have been having some hard times. Not necessarily just hard times because, of financial reasons or whatever. But I think that coupled with a lot of other things, like, everything with Nick, and just like, it's just a lot of negative news that's been going on lately. So, I was just feeling kind of down, kind of not myself for a while. And I've been feeling a little bit better the past, I would say like the last 2 weeks I've been feeling better, like more like myself, which is so much better compared to how it was before. Before I just felt like every day was just, was just doing the regular thing, just going by day, no change, because what is there to change? We can't go nowhere. We can't go outside. We can't see friends. So, that's how I was feeling. I am feeling a little bit better. What about you, Sara?
That's amazing, girl. I mean, to be honest with you, it's so strange because I felt the same way. Like, I'm going to be completely transparent here, but from December, like from the beginning of December till like the end of January, I was just like MIA. Like, I don't know what it was. I was just like in my own head and I was just like, nothing is changing. I don't see I don't see a really big change happening anytime soon. And it was just like, yeah,
Right.
it is a new year, but it's like, I don't feel like it's a new year. I feel like, you know, same shit in 2020 is still happening in 2021. And it's like,
Right.
it sort of got me in my feelings. Like I was like really,
Yeah.
really upset and just like really sad. And I was just like, I don't know what there is to really look forward to right now. And I'm the
Exactly.
type, right? And I'm like the type that is like, I'm very excited for what's to come. And I'm just like right now in my life, I'm just like, I've made sure that I've like sort of made the steps like in the summertime and just like last year that I'm just going to pursue my dreams to the fullest. And it's just like at this moment, that's not possible. So it was like really hard
Right.
for me. And like, I was just like an emotional wreck, if we're being honest. But,
Yeah.
I feel like there was a turning point in like late January, early February, where I actually spoke with one of my close girlfriends, and she's extremely, extremely knowledgeable and just so wise in terms of like social media, branding, all of these things. Shout out Lauren Ashley, love you, girl. But I spoke with her, and when I spoke with her, I was sort of like, listen, girl, I really want to work on my brand. I really want to, you know, like level up, like show me the ropes, like tell me what you can, et cetera, et cetera. And
Right.
basically from that conversation, though, it sort of sparked some motivation in me, which was like so needed at the time. Like I was just like, well, thank
Yeah.
God. Because I'm like, something needed to change. And I like, it was really upsetting me because I couldn't find that change within myself. Does that make sense? Like I was like,
Right.
I
No,
was
that makes sense.
I was searching and I was like, I just don't feel motivated. I just don't feel
Yeah.
inspired. I just don't feel nothing. Like
Yes.
give me some Netflix to watch, give me
Yes.
some Spotify, give me some whatever.
Yes.
And I'm like,
You're
but
like preaching to my soul, because that's exactly how I felt. I like felt
exactly.
like nothing, like no matter what I do, nothing's gonna change. So I didn't
Nothing.
feel motivated to do anything. Like I just felt numb to everything,
Numb.
is the best way to put it.
Exactly. And the problem though is that I was trying to look at these things to make me feel happy, but all of it was temporary,
Right.
unfortunately. Like the Netflix,
Yeah.
okay, my series is done now. What's next? What's new?
Exactly.
What's new? What's the next thing that can distract me, I guess, for the next couple of whatever. And it's just like I knew that this would not keep me happy for a long period of time. And I was just like, I don't really know. Like,
Right.
even to this day, like, I'm trying to do a couple more things and just trying to like change shit up. Like, you know what I mean? And trying to look
Yeah.
forward to things. But it's really hard when like things like, for instance, like the lockdown becomes extended again. And you're just like, well, shit. Like,
Yes.
so when are we going to open? So, like, when are we going to change
Yeah.
things? Right.
So
And
right.
it's crazy though, Shenelle, and tell me if this has happened to you too, but I feel like the people that I speak with, like my friends, my family, they all feel the same way. They're all like, some of them are still in that rut that I was
Yeah.
in 2 months ago. Like, you know what I mean? Like some people are still in that
Right.
negative
Yeah.
space, and I'm just like, oh, like this is tough. Like, and it's hard because you, even if you talk to your friends and stuff, sometimes it's not enough. Like sometimes like they need
Yeah. It's not.
I don't know what they need. Like it's such a strange time. Such a
It
strange
is.
time.
It truly is. And, I 100% agree. Like at the time, like I thought, I have anxiety. So I thought it was just, mostly my anxiety that made me feel this way, because, in the past I have felt like this
Mm-hmm.
to some extent,
Yeah.
but, it was just to the point where I was like, I don't want to feel like this. Like, who wants to feel like they're stuck? Like, who wants to feel like, they're not going anywhere? Like, everything they do, no matter what they do, it's still going to be the same. Nothing's going to change.
Mm-hmm.
So I really took the time to kind of like just focus on things that I needed to do for myself.
Right.
And like, I did talk to friends and family and everything, but it's either some people get it or some people don't get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of the time, you know, people may understand what you're going through, but you know, what works for them, what helps them get through it is not what's going to help me. So I always feel like, even though, you know, talking about it is helpful, I don't feel like it's always helpful for me in my case, because sometimes it makes me feel worse, you know, because
oh my God, yeah.
oh, that person's doing this and they're, you know, they're able to do this. Why can't I do it? You know, why can't I feel the motivation or feel the push to want to do it or to actually go out and do it, you know? So I always feel like I always, like, I don't know, it's a Leo thing, I think, Sarah. But we talk about things that are going on with us, but like we still keep a lot, like it's so like much. We skim the surface and we just give you like the light stuff, and then like the real deep, hard shit that, you know, you actually really, 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 really need help with. You just kind of keep that back because, you know, it's like you feel like you're protecting yourself in that way. Totally. So I'm always like, I need an outlet. I need somewhere, because I mean, you know, no matter how much I talk to my friends, or my family, or, you know, my partner, is not necessarily going to help me, you know, because I may not tell them everything. You know what I mean? And then there's also that fear that if I do tell them, they may not understand what I need, you know? So,
you know, that's such I love that point, that they might not understand what I mean. Like, and I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it is a Leo thing, because I feel like I rarely tell people how I'm feeling and I want to specify, because I'm very open, and like I will tell you, like, oh, if something is pissing me off, I'll be like, that's pissing me off, right? But when it comes to, like, I guess, bigger issues, conflicts, like these things, I'm just like, I would prefer to just remain happy. That's I think that's my flaw, though, because you don't, like, being happy,
because it eats at you. That thing that you're not talking about, it eats at you.
Not only
and then
that,
one day,
girl, it's you bottle it in, and then one day it will. I'm assuming that's what you're going with. It explodes.
Yes,
totally.
Yes,
100%.
Literally all the time. And I'm trying to, like, be better about that, and, you know, talk about the things, you know, like, give myself time to breathe and then talk about it. But I mean, you know
what
I
helps
still
me?
blow up on people.
You know what helps me? Totally. I feel like I've learned a lot, like, like, the thing that's crazy, though, is that I feel like I was more ballsy, like, for lack of a better word, I was more ballsy when I was younger. Like, when I was 18, like 18, 19, if you pissed me off, or if something came up and I had to address it with you, I'd be like, no problem. Like, let me tell you about your life. And the only thing that I will say, though, is that now, being much older, obviously, I think about it and I'm like, girl, I could have handled that so much better. Like, and I sort of think, like, I have to choose my words wisely. And it's a thing that I'm still working on, right? We're still working on this, like, but I feel like when I was younger, I was just like, it was like almost no bullshit. Now I feel like as you get older, there's like circumstances that, like, you're just like, I don't know if I could say that. And it's like, why not? Like, you know, why can't you say that? If anything, it would be more productive to say something, you know, like, instead of bottling it all in.
True.
Right? It's so interesting.
Like, I 100% agree.
I feel like it also reflects in different aspects of your life, though, right? I mean, at least for me, I feel like I see this in my friendships, my relationship, my work relationships, like, in different areas, right? Like, I would say, like, I can only speak on my own behalf, right? But I feel like I am a people pleaser. Like, I really enjoy making people happy and like helping people. So I think
that's just a Leo thing.
I think so too. I think so too. Totally. And I feel like, you know, when you do put other people's needs and wants, maybe not before your own, but they are important, right? I feel like often you tend to forget what's really good for you. Like you forget to ask yourself,
Exactly.
what is this really making me happy? Is this really satisfying me? Do I feel
Right.
appreciated? All of these things, right? These are the questions that you ask yourself, but unfortunately sometimes these are the questions that you ask yourself after the fact, right? Like once everything is said and
Yeah, when
done.
it's too late.
Right.
Right.
But
So,
I feel,
I
wow, I
mean,
just like went on a whole rant.
no, I mean it, it's exactly how I've been feeling, like I said, we're both Leos, so I think, like, again, everybody is so different, and everyone's like, oh, that zodiac stuff, it doesn't make sense, it's not real. And I'm like, but it is real, like, to an extent, like, it is real, because there's so many, like, most of the people that I know that are Leos, they do the exact same shit that I do. Like, we
Yeah.
bottle shit up. We only
Mm-hmm.
tell part of what's really bothering us,
Mm-hmm.
We love to make the people that we care about happy. We'll do whatever we need to do to make that happen for them. But we also kind of put ourselves on the back burner too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's just our nature, and it's nothing wrong with that. It's just,
Right.
that's how we are. And unfortunately for all the people who don't believe in zodiacs and all of that stuff, it's true, there are some traits that just are, the same for a lot of people that are under that same star sign. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to get into astrology
We
and
should.
zodiacs and things like
No,
that.
no, no,
Well,
girlfriend.
I
I
mean,
think
we
we
should.
should. We should. And
Yes, but
the reason why though we should is because recently, and if you follow me on Instagram, you will remember, hopefully, I posted on my stories recently that I finally decided to check into my moon sign and my rising sign, which is so
oh, so like your
interesting.
whole chart.
My whole chart.
Yes.
And let me tell you, there is something to that. There's really something to that.
It
There
is.
there's
There
things there
is.
that I was just like,
100%.
well, shit. Like, did no one want to tell me this
Yeah.
before? Like, I don't know. I could have saved myself a lot. Like a lot of
When you really dig into it, you learn so much about
so
yourself. And it's
much.
like, it's better for you because it tells you how to navigate like life. It
Mm-hmm.
teaches you or explains to you how, like, work, like the things that work best for you in your work
Right.
environment, with your friends and your relationships and your
Mm-hmm.
family life. Like, it really does help you with that. And people are always like, oh, that's like, witchcraft and whatever. And it's like, it's not witchcraft or anything. I'm trying
No.
to understand me better so I can be better for myself.
And you
Because
know
that's
what?
the bottom line.
Absolutely. I 1000% agree. But I also think it's like, I would find it like baloney or witchcraft or witchery or whatever the case if there was no
Yeah,
truth to it. But then when you look into it,
exactly.
it's like, well, damn, like this actually really does resonate with me. This actually does
Right,
explain a lot. Like I
right,
if it didn't, then I would be like, whatever, right? But it does.
right.
It does. And
It
another thing
does.
I want to mention that I recently found out is numerology. Have you heard it? Have
Yes.
you looked into that?
Yes, I have.
Oh my God,
Because,
Chanel, this
like,
stuff
the
is
more you read and, like, try to figure out, like, it's not even, it's more like I'm just trying to understand me. You know what I mean? Like,
mm-hmm.
I've been me, I've been with myself for how many ever years I've been
Right,
alive. I need to know about me,
right.
and these things may seem weird to other people, and cool, that's your opinion and you're allowed
Right.
to have that opinion. I
Mhm.
mean, a couple of years ago, I would have thought this was weird too,
Right.
but you're learning more about yourself. It's like understanding yourself. And that's all that that's my main objective. I'm not trying to, like, I mean, I might do it on my partner, like try to figure out, because it just makes me understand him better. But
Absolutely.
at the same time, I'm not going to force him if that's something that he doesn't want to do, but it's going to make me understand me so I can be like, hey, I really don't like these things. Like, maybe you should read this little booklet about me so you know what works better for me,
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
I
And
mean,
what's the harm in it? What's the harm in it? Like
exactly. What's the harm in that? Finding out
there's
about
not
yourself.
no harm in it. I feel like the main goal of life is to find joy. I don't know if you've heard that
Exactly.
before, but the main purpose of life is to find joy. And the way that you can find joy, I would assume, like if everyone is on the same page as me, is to fully understand yourself. That way you can be the best version of yourself. Like you can get
of yourself.
that main, goal, right? But I feel like numerology and zodiac signs and all of these things, right? All we're trying to do is just get to know us better. Like we're going to be with ourselves like for the rest of our lives, so might as well understand why we do certain things, why how certain things affect us, like whether that be spiritually or physically or emotionally or whatever. Like I think it's important. I think it's really important, and it's not
it is.
and I don't like that, actually. Let me point this out. I don't like that people will judge it and say, oh, it's witchery or whatever. Like it's like, don't judge it until you actually find out like about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like imagine you're calling it witchery, whatever the case, and then you never know, if you actually dive into it a little bit, you might actually find something that you think is very valuable and might change your life. You never know.
Exactly.
Right? Like
exactly. And I don't agree with it being called like witchcraft or anything like that either. Just because, like, I mean, it's just because it's not what is what normal or the norm. Exactly. It's not the norm of what, everybody says, and every culture has like these superstitions about like what's a witch and things like that. So it's like these couple of things, because I'm trying to understand myself a little bit more, that makes it seem like I'm getting into witchcraft. No, I'm just trying to understand myself more.
I think it's just being open, like being open to other things. Like if someone were to say, oh, hey, Sarah, let me read your palm, or let me do some tarot cards on you, or whatever the case, right?
Yes.
I would never be like, no, I don't believe in that. Like that's some witchcraft shit. Like I would never say that. Like
exactly, because you don't want to offend that person.
Not only that, it's like be open to it. What like you're only gonna blind yourself, right? You're only gonna blind yourself. Like imagine you can learn something so significant about yourself through anything. Like I just think it's really important to keep an open mind and to be open to these things, like I think the whole purpose of life is to understand yourself more. And whether I think like that is the most important thing. I think more people should want to do that. I feel like a lot of people are just so okay with being being stuck in the everyday motions of life.
Like just doing just status quo, doing everything that everybody expects of them, and not necessarily taking the road less traveled or doing their own thing.
100%.
That kind of brings me to a topic. So I was watching, I don't know if you know who this is, but his name is Brandon Gonez. And he used to be on CP24. He was like a news anchor.
Oh my God, is that the black guy? The really nice looking guy?
Yes.
Aw, that's nice.
Exactly who I'm talking about. So he kind of branched out and started his own YouTube channel where he delivers the news the way he wants to. So I've been watching it because I support I support his brand. I've always enjoyed seeing him.
He was very polite, very nice guy, from what I remember.
Funny, very personable, right? So he has his YouTube show that comes on every Sunday. And this Sunday, because it was like Valentine's Day that just passed, he was talking about relationships, and there was this guy that went viral for saying the most outlandish shit about relationships, and I was like, who the hell is this guy? Like, who is he really? And I was just so annoyed because this guy was like, oh, if I can't remember the guy's name, but at this point it doesn't matter because I'm not about to give him like more shine for what he said. But basically he was saying that, if you ask a girl out on a date and she she can't make it to the date and she wants to reschedule, or, she flops on the date, but you guys want to go on another date. He's like, you have to make her pay for the next date. You have to punish that behavior. That's what he said. He used those words, punish. And I'm like, excuse me.
What are we, a dog?
What do you mean? So say something real, like something comes up like either work or personal, and I can't make it. At least I reached out to you and told you, you know what I mean? Like, hey, I can't make it for this day. Let's change the date or whatever.
Right.
This guy's like, oh, you have to punish the behavior because she's not going to take you seriously. Number one, I don't know what girls you're dating. I don't know what girls you're dating, but like, number one, I'm not trying to date someone who thinks they have to punish me.
Right.
Like, what the fuck is that? Like, who are you? Are you my dad? Are you my parent?
No,
like,
you know what that sounds like? That sounds like conditioning behavior for a dog. Like, when you have a dog, you have to punish them or else they won't learn because they can't speak your language. Like, let's be real. Like, that shit's unbelievable. Like, what are we back in the 18th century? What's going on?
Yes. And like, okay, so I'll put a link to the episode that I'm talking about in the description in the YouTube channel, so you guys can go and watch it if you guys want to. But this guy, I was so mad. I was like, this guy, he's like, livid. Girls want to be, they're 21st century. They want to be able to do all of these things for themselves, but they want a man that waits on them hand and foot. And you know what I mean? They don't want us to elevate. So we have to elevate to be on their level for them to take us seriously. I'm like, sorry, wait, what?
What?
Yes. Like, this guy. And then, so Brandon was like, are you in a relationship? And he's like, no. And he's like, okay. We're like, I was like, obviously. And Brandon's like, do you realize what you're saying isn't like, may not be helpful to everyone that you're delivering this message to?
If anything, it's actually disadvantageous. Like, it is not going to help anyone. He's not helping anyone.
Not at all. And I'm like,
do you know what he's helping? You know, he's helping, Shenelle. He's helping. What are those guys called? Those guys that
those misogynistic guys.
Yes, but they're called something. I forget what they're called, and they're called something about like celibates, something like along those lines, celibates. So there's these guys that literally have just never had luck with women, and they are like almost psychotic in terms of like, you know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're talking about. Those guys that like they have no game and they always get turned down by women. So now they're
vengeful almost. Like,
yeah, they're vengeful. Like, now because of that, like, they're gonna punish any girl that doesn't give him the time of day. Now all of these women.
And you see that type of vocabulary that you just said, punish that behavior for women that don't abide by them. It's exactly what this guy is saying, right? And that's extremely problematic because what do you think is going to happen when a guy is feeling that same way and he's like, oh my God, this guy makes so much sense. I should punish them. And it's like,
right. No. It's like, and he's like, I said punish because, men only understand a certain thing. I'm like, no, you're the only person that feels that way. You're the only one. So, okay, I found it. I'm going to play it for you.
Okay.
Oh.
Behavior, you need to punish it immediately so she knows it's not acceptable.
No. Wait, let me start over again.
Rain check or reschedule, you simply respond, hey, that's cool, but I'm not really a fan of flaky girls. If we go out, you're going to pay for drinks or dinner or whatever plan you guys had. Because the reality is this. With women, when they give you undesirable behavior, you need to punish it immediately so she knows it's not acceptable. Because if you take her back and take her on a date, after she did something like that, she's going to think it's okay. Don't reinforce bad behavior with positive treatment, okay? So
and I'm like, who are you? Like, and then Brandon's like, are you married?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, no. And then he's like, oh, okay. So you're giving advice to guys about how to get girls when you don't have one. And then he was like, He's like, do you believe in love? He's like, well, I understand, what love is. He's like, okay, but do you believe in love? He's like, well, yeah, I'd like to say this. And I'm like, you're not answering the question. You're teaching guys, you're saying you're a relationship coach and you're teaching guys like how to date women and how to go about dating women. But you also like don't believe in all the things. Like some guys are dating to fall in love and get married and have kids. That's clearly not your goal. So what are you teaching these men to do? To date around and like be promiscuous and sleep with multiple girls? Or are you trying to help these guys find relationships? Because the information that you're giving them isn't helpful.
To be honest with you, if anything, it's reinforcing toxic masculinity. And I don't say those terms lightly, or I don't say those terms
me either
in any capacity. But to me, that is what exactly I just heard, is that, okay, if you're not going to have that same behavior that you're wanting, then I'm just going to punish you. Like, you can't control people like that. Like, people are not just a pawn in a chess game that you could just be like, if I don't, like, I'm the king of the world and you're supposed to abide by everything I'm going to say. Absolutely not. Like, he's going to get a rude reality check when he fucks with the wrong girl, honestly.
Well, that's why he's single, right? So,
but I feel like
I honestly, I don't like flaky girls. I have to reschedule because of personal things. That's none of your business.
What happens when
you don't like flaky girls? Then we should not be on it. Like, I'm not flaky. Me rescheduling isn't being flaky. Me not showing up and then continuing to talk to you, that's being flaky, right? So if I'm giving you the common courtesy to let you know that we have to reschedule because I have this thing that is gonna be in the way,
right?
How's that flaky? You're punishing me for what? For giving you notice, for letting you know, for being honest and upfront instead of leaving you hanging and waiting till the last minute. What are you talking about?
Well, to be honest with you, any girl that is on the receiving end of that is just gonna be like, okay, not like, you're lost, bye. But to be honest,
I don't know which girl would be like, oh, let me
sure, no problem.
This guy, sure. Oh, okay, I'll pay for it, even though you asked me on the date and something is up with my schedule, so I have to reschedule. Now I gotta pay, bitch. Fuck you. I didn't even want to date you. Fuck you. Like, you asked me on the date.
It all depends on the context, right? It all depends on the context. And I feel like if if this was like 7 times that this girl flaked on you, maybe, but not a punishment. Like, maybe be like, you know what, I really don't like flaky girls, and if you really want to go out with me on a date, maybe I don't know, tell her, like, I don't feel comfortable paying for your meal. Maybe those words
can go Dutch. I'll pay for my own meal, you pay for your own meal. Exactly. You know what I mean?
Because to me, it sounds sort of like retribution. Like, oh, I'm gonna punish you, and you're gonna, it's sort of like a revenge. Right. And I don't like that shit. Like that's not gonna get you anywhere.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Absolutely.
So
not.
There was this other viral thing that happened on social media over the weekend. I can't remember
over the weekend. Oh yeah, you said on Sunday, right? That's interesting.
Yeah. So this girl, I think her name is Simone, and she is popular on Instagram. And she put out this video saying, like, this is what I did to manifest love, right? So she's saying, like, I made a list of the things that I want in a man, right? And in order to manifest that, I had to become his equal, right? Because this is the man that I want, right? So I have to be able, I can't say I want a man who has a job and I don't have a job. I can't say I want a man that has a good relationship with his mom and I haven't talked to my mom in 2 years, right? So she was saying that, right? She's like, I can't say I want a man that is good with money and has good credit and my credit is bad and I'm not good with money. I can't save for nothing, right? So that's what she was saying. And a lot of people were upset with the message. And I'm like, but she's right. She's right. like, I'm not gonna say I want all of these things. Like, first of all, I don't have a list. You know what I mean? It's just basic things. Like, he has to be nice, can't be an asshole, has to like be put in some effort. All those other things like will come, or if it's there, it's there. You know what I mean? But like, that's not necessarily the things that I'm making this list, and if they don't have this right now, I'm not gonna date them, because again, nobody's perfect. I'm not gonna have all of these things and expect that person to have it, right? Like she was saying. So she was like, you gotta do what you want. Like, you want him to have a 6-pack and abs and all of this shit, you gotta go to the gym too, girl. Like, you know what I mean? She's like, you need to set yourself up so that you're in the same arena as him, you know what I mean? So that you can attract what you're actually looking for. And I'm like, that makes sense. She's not talking, she's spitting straight facts, right? Like, if that's what I'm looking for, I obviously have to align myself to be attracted, or for him to be attracted to me in that case. Because again, guys have different preferences. They may like a short girl, a stocky girl, a chunky girl. Like, you never know, but your odds are better if you are equally yoked with that person. So I was like, I don't understand why so many people are mad. Like, if you have like these overzealous expectations, just say that. Like, don't get mad at the messenger. Like, she's right.
I mean, can I be honest? I would be the devil's advocate in this situation, because I feel like if you're looking for a relationship and you're looking for specific things, right? Say, for instance, you do have a list, and you have a list that you need everything checked off, and that's just your expectations. I feel like you have to remember that opposites attract. I'm only speaking on my personal, my personal relationship is that me and my men are complete opposite. Like, and to be honest with you, I think it works well. Like, in terms of like, I don't see the need for me to be the same in every aspect as him, because what would be the fun in that? Like, or like, do you know what I mean? What would be the dynamic in that? I don't want another person to be the same as me, like exactly the same.
If I wanted to date myself, I would be single.
And on top of that, I feel like you also would be looking for things that maybe you don't have in yourself, in your partner, in terms of like, say for instance, you're not really good at the gym. So I can speak on my behalf and say that, like, I'm not the best at the gym, but my significant other is a little bit better. So I'm like, well, bless. Like, at least I have someone that can show me the ropes. Sorry about that. That can show me what's good. Like, and I feel like, I think that's a little bit too not opportunistic, idealistic, in that everything that I would desire in a man, I need to have myself. Yes and no. Yes and no. It depends on the context of things. Like, it depends. Okay, if you want a man that makes 6 figures in a year, yeah, my girl, you should be working your ass off so that way you are his equal in that respect, right? Like, if this man, if you want a very faithful man as your man, yeah, my girl, you should be faithful too. Like,
you need to be faithful too. Yeah.
Right. Those things, okay, perfect. Like, I see where she's speaking on that, right? But with regards to everything else, like, say for instance, like, I have a okay sense of humor. My significant other has a excellent sense of humor, and that's great. Like, we balance each other off. And I don't think that I need to have an exceptional like sense of humor in order for us to be compatible. Nah, that's not true. Like, especially when I hear girls say that, or like anyone say that, I feel like you take it with a grain of salt. You say, you know what, that may be true in certain aspects, but in others, I feel like it could be, you could elaborate a little bit more. Like, relationships are not cut and dry like that. You know what I mean? Like, they're a little bit more multifaceted.
No, and I agree with you 100% on that, because again, opposites do attract. But I think the main point, or the main objective of what you're saying is like, if you're gonna have a list, you know, at least try to work to some of those things for yourself as well.
Okay,
like you
yes.
can't rely on the other person to have all of these things and like bringing everything to the table, and you have nothing, you're bringing nothing, you know what I mean? Like you have to balance each other in some way. So he may not be good with his money, but he has a great job, and I'm good with money. Maybe I'll teach him how to be better with his money, you know what I mean? So like I agree with you in that aspect too. But I think the main objective of what she was trying to say is like, you know, bring something to the table, you know, like don't be absolutely just hoping and wanting
just
him
waiting
to
to
provide
be
everything
saved.
and you do nothing. Yeah, exactly. To be saved.
Yeah. I agree 1000%. I do. I feel like I've seen in my lifetime like friends that I'm no longer friends with, or like even friends that I do have now, like where they're females and they expect, like, for instance, I won't say names, but I've had friends where they're like literally, yeah, I'm going on a date with a guy, and literally not put one penny down. And just expect like the guy to just be like, yeah, for sure, I'm going to pay for your meal. I'm going to pay for us going to the movies. I'm going to pay for this and this and that. And to me, it's like, every time that I like saw that, like I almost 100% can guarantee that if I asked the guy, like, are you okay with this? They would say absolutely not, you know, because it doesn't look good. Like girls, I would say maybe this is my word of advice for today, but I feel like it is extremely attractive, and it's extremely I guess desirable for a woman to have her shit together and to be confident and to hold her own and to be a boss and to be all of these things. Like, you don't need to rely on other men or women, if that's, you know, whatever you orientation that you are, to like, I don't know how to say it in English. I'm like in Spanish, it's like maintain you. Like, you don't need someone to take care of you all the time. Like, you should be able to take care of yourself, because when you're in a relationship, it's a partnership. You rely on each other. You guys should be 50-50, right? Yeah, of course, the guy is going to maybe have some responsibilities or duties that are different from yours. That's obvious, right? Any dynamic should be that way. It should be like, we have our differences, but we also have our similarities. But at the same time, be able to meet that person on that level. Because if you can't, I'm sorry, honey, but they're going to be walking out of your life and they're going to be like, get me someone that can. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that is an issue with our society at the moment, because I feel like, you know, especially with social media, especially with, you know, song lyrics, you know, TV shows, all of these things, right? All of this media, like penetrating our brains, saying, yeah, guys should take care of girls. Guys should be doing this, this, and that. But it's like setting up a really terrible expectation, because you have to realize that men and you know, any gender, any sexuality that is a little bit more dominant or whatever the case, like they have feelings too, you know, like, and I feel like people tend to forget that. Like, they look at men like, oh, like they're strong, they're capable of like taking care of me, but it's like, okay, yeah, but they want to be taken care of too, you know, like anyone wants to be taken care of. Like, people want to feel cared for. They want to feel adored. They want to feel like, you know, I can let my hair loose. I can relax with this person too. They don't want to always be the one to take care of everything, right? Like, and I feel like it sort of sets up a really bad expectation, like for future generations too, right? Like, I see certain guys, or I see like this behavior, and I'm like, shit, can you imagine in like 10 years, 20 years, when it's a whole different generation and the people that you're doing this to are raising children?
God,
what a nightmare.
Like, right? So I always say that too, because you know, my mom, she was a stay-at-home mom most of her life. And I always think, you know, I'm like, I see her and I'm like, yeah, you know, I do want to have kids, and, you know, I do want to be able to stay home with them and take care of them. But I also want like my own career. Like, I also want to do things for myself. I want to be able to do things for myself without having to wait or ask somebody else for permission. Like, I want to be able to do, you know what I mean? Like, if I want to go to the store and I want to buy this big ass purse that costs how much ever $100, you know what I mean? I know that I'm making enough money where I can purchase that, you know, aside from whatever I'm contributing to the household. I want to be able to do that on my own for myself. And I don't want to have to rely on anybody to decide or determine that if that's something I can get. I want to be able to do it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And then maybe just to reinforce what you're saying is like, the only way that you can do that is by doing it yourself, right? The only person that you can control in this life is you. So I feel like there's a lot of I'm only saying this because of what I've experienced, what I've seen myself firsthand, is like I feel like there's a lot of girls that would prefer someone else to take care of them or someone else to, you know, foot the bill, whatever the case, right? But it's like, at the end of the day, what if that person walks away from your life? What if that person is no longer there? God forbid something happens to you, you know? Like, I think you should be always number one. Your main priority is taking care of yourself. How are you going to survive? Can you rely on yourself tomorrow to make sure that you have a roof above your head? Do you have food on the table, etc.? Without having to rely on someone else. I think that's a great learning lesson for anyone that's in a situation like that, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, like, at some point, like, let's be honest, everybody wants to not have to pay for things themselves. Everybody who wants to, like, have to work for the rest of their life. Understandable, right? But at the same time, it's like, I also don't want to have to ask. Like, I just want to be able to go out and do it. You know what I mean? And in order for me to be able to do that, I need to provide for myself. It's like, I feel like if I was a kept woman, if someone was just taking care of me, I'd get bored.
I would get so bored.
I would start fights in the relationship because I'm bored. What else is there to do, right?
So true.
But if I have like a job, something I'm working towards, you know, it takes away a little bit of that boredom. Like, I have something, like I keep myself entertained. And I think that given, you know, everything that's going on in the world, a 2-income household is way better than a 1-income household.
I will say this. Ideally, you're completely correct. Ideally, okay? Like, in terms of, like, if it's possible, do it. But if it's not, God forbid, okay?
If it's not possible, then, you know,
if you're a single parent, if you are, you know, taking care of an elder, you know, family member by yourself, anything like this, like, my heart goes out to you because it's not easy.
Right.
It's not easy.
It isn't.
And even if it's someone that actually proactively just wants to be alone, do your thing, do it. Like, and the thing though is that no one's saying that it's easy. It's not easy. Having a 2-income household is not, it's not always possible.
It's something that always can happen. Yeah, it's not always possible. And, like, you know, there may be things, you know, one person in the relationship may have like a health problem and they can't work because of that. But
it happens a lot.
In those situations, like, there's an equal trade-off. It's like, okay, that person that maybe can't go out and work, they'll maybe do more things around the house. Like, one person isn't doing everything.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and it has to be an equal balance.
There has to be communication about that too, right? Because it can't just be like an assumption. You can't just have that expectation without communication. I've seen so many times, like, obviously it's not my place to talk about or like to say who it is, but I've seen, you know, someone that has had a sickness and unfortunately had to stop working, and it was sort of like they weren't pulling their weight in other aspects, and it really, really damaged things. Like, it really, because at that point, the other person that is trying to, you know, work for the family or work for the relationship, feels like unappreciated or like undervalued, you know, like
They go home, they go to work, they leave home and go to work, and then they come home and they have to work this, like they're working 24 hours a day,
24
every
hours.
single day. Like that's wearing on that person. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
They can only take
again,
it for so long too,
trade-off.
right? They can only take it for so
Right,
long. And that's the thing.
right.
I
And
feel like that actually sort of 360s what we were talking about initially in terms of mental health. Like imagine what
right,
that's doing to someone in their head. Like, yeah, physically they're
exactly.
exhausted, but mentally they're also probably very exhausted. And they're like, I don't know how much more I can put up with this, like
Right.
it's quite
It's
interesting.
hard and it's a lot. It's a lot for one person to take on. And that's why in relationships, conversation, talking, being open, not having this idea that one person has to punish the other for doing something. Like it's just stupid. You
Mm-hmm.
would talk to your significant other. If you gotta take a break, you gotta be like, listen, I need 10 minutes by myself because
Yes.
I'm gonna say something that I don't want to say.
Right.
Let me take that time, and then we can revisit this later. But again, like it's easy for us to say because we're talking about it, and again, relationships are hard.
Mm-hmm.
And not everybody has the tools or has the I don't want to say common sense, but like in a lot of times it's like it's common sense. Like I don't want to fight with you in that way. Like I'd rather get to a resolution than fight with you. So let's table this for a minute. Let's come back to it and talk about it when we both calm down, and we're not going to say some things to
Hurtful
each other
thing.
that we don't exactly.
I think so
So
too, 100%. I feel like
yeah,
I think communication in general is just so important. Like there's so many instances where you don't know what the other person is going through, and I feel like that's so important, not only with this crazy person saying, like, literally, I'm sorry, I don't like saying people are crazy, but this guy is crazy. Clearly he doesn't have a reality
like
check. Like clearly he doesn't know what's real and what's not, or how to treat people. So that's just my 2
it's
cents,
like you
but
just completely disregarded like
completely
what
disregarded.
actual women think or feel. Like he also said there's another part. Oh my god, he was just so annoying. He said that women don't have to work to get sex. Like they don't have to work for it.
Mm-hmm.
They just exude this sexuality and men have to work for it. No, that's not what it is. It's men over sexualize women. And that's why it comes across to men that we don't have to work for sex or to want to have sex with someone because we exude sex. No, that's not the case. That
Mm-hmm.
is not the case. You guys are just perverts all day, every day. And that is why you feel that way. But you think you think me doing my makeup and putting on a dress and going to the park with my friends is me trying to be sexy to appease you? No, I'm wearing this because I want to wear this. I put makeup on because I want to wear makeup. It's
Right.
not because I'm trying to get your attention.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make sense. So for when he said that, I was like, this is like setting people back. He's putting these wrong ideas into people's heads
Mm-hmm.
and making them feel like it's okay to treat women a certain way because of they're dressed this way or they're sexual beings. They're supposed to make me feel that way. Like that's just
What an
generating a
entitlement.
culture. Pardon?
What an entitlement.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Mm-hmm.
who says that? Like, everybody knows. Like, okay, yeah, guys always are thinking like that. We know that. But if you were raised properly, if you grew up and learned and understood, like, hey, not every woman, just because she's wearing shorts and a tank top, doesn't mean that she's asking for me to approach her or talk to her in any kind of way or want to have sex with her. That's not the case. It could just be hot. And that
Right.
I have to wear in order for me to feel comfortable outside. Like
Right.
that doesn't. So everything he was saying, it's like coming from, like you said, a toxic masculine place,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just giving the wrong message. And I'm like, he needs to talk. He's talking from a male perspective on how to get women. And okay, but have you asked women? Like, have you actually
Right.
talked
Have
to
you
women
actually had
about
that conversation?
No, that like this, it's clear that he hasn't. You know, he just tried a couple of things and was like, oh, this worked, right? But he doesn't have a stable long-term relationship to show that anything that he has done actually worked.
I just find it hilarious that he even has a platform to say these things. Like, I would be like, no. I mean, yes, but no. Like, sure, if you want a podcast
He has an audience.
this stuff, but I feel like it will cause more harm than it will good. And to be honest with you, I don't want to come across like trying to censor people. I think there should be freedom of speech. Right. I do agree with that. But at the same time, like, someone should really be like, I don't know if that's the smartest thing to be telling people, because I think it's going to do more harm than
what Brandon said. Brandon Gonez was like, you know, I don't think your message is actually helpful to anybody. You know, like and then he was like, you know, well, the information I'm putting out there, that's for people who want that information. And I'm like, exactly, that's scary. And there are people out there that want this information that you're providing them, because it's flagrant, it's wrong, and on so many levels, and it doesn't actually teach your audience how to be a person that a woman would like to be in a relationship with. You're just teaching them how to be an asshole. And like, as we can tell, like, yeah, you know, guys that are assholes, they do get girls, but at the same time, it's like, at what expense? That girl is going to eventually be like, oh, I don't like this, and leave them.
And what happens then, right? What happens when the girl's like, I don't like this, I'm going to leave? She's going to be traumatized by this type of behavior, and she's going to bring it into her next relationship, potentially even bringing it to her children. You never know, right? These things are more deep-rooted than we believe. And that causes more problems, a lot more problems, societal problems, communal problems. Like, this is like, I don't know. I feel like, I think it should be like, communication is so important. Because I feel what I was trying to say earlier is like, you never know why this woman is like ditching you. You never know, like, maybe she's having a mental health episode. Maybe she has a family member that's going through something, or whatever the case. It's like, instead of just assuming, instead of just assuming,
like, you don't know.
I would say the best bet for him is to communicate and to say, hey, did something happen? Can I help you? Are you okay? These are questions and the reaction that you should want to do. Instead of saying, I'm going to punish you, you should try and help that person. Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
I feel like his best bet is to just not put that information out there, or his best bet is to just not go around telling people to do these things.
Yeah.
You know, or like to talk to women in that way. I think that would be his best bet, because
or someone should not, like, I think that Brendan guy should have told him, like, hey, I don't feel that way, and that's not cool. Did he say that?
Well, he didn't say it like that, but he basically, he was like showing him like, hey, like, you said this, like, do you really, you know what I mean? He was asking him questions and he wasn't answering them. He was like dancing around the actual answer. And it's like, so you don't feel you're agreeing. He's like, you basically agree that this doesn't work, right? Because you're telling these guys this is what you have to do to get a girl, but you don't have a girl. You're telling all of these guys who may be listening to you because they're like, oh, you know, I want to fall in love, I want to, you know, be with someone.
Desperate at that point.
And you're not in, you don't even know if you believe in love. You can't even say, yes, I believe in love. I agree that love is something that you know, everybody should have. You don't even agree. You don't even think that for yourself. So how could you be giving dating advice to people if you're not, number one, dating someone, or number two, believe that like love is a thing? You don't believe that. He's like, it's an ideal and whatever, whatever. And I'm like, from when you said you're not in a relationship, everything you're saying now, like everything that you said means nothing,
Out the
because
window.
if it worked, then you would be in a relationship.
So true. And a loving
The
and
only
a
person
great
I'm taking
relationship.
is like, right. The only person I'm listening to about relationship advice is my grandparents. Why? Because they've been in such a long relationship. They've had so many kids. They've gone through so many things. Those are the only people that I would listen to in regards to a relationship, or another person who's in a relation, like a marriage, and their marriage is going well.
Exactly.
Hey gorgeous, thanks so much for continuing to listen. We hope you've had a great time so far. Please don't forget to hit that follow or subscribe button so that you can get your perfect blend each and every week. Hit us up on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere you get your dose of podcasts. Now, let's get back to it.
So let's get into the blend segment.
Awesome.
So some beauty launches. So one that I'm really interested in, or I'm looking forward to like purchasing, is the Fenty Pro Filter foundation powder.
Nice.
I'm a person that, like, when I'm going out, like, say I'm going to the grocery store and I'm like, my skin doesn't look too great. I'll throw on some powder foundation. Like, that's my shit.
Yeah.
So when I heard that Fenty was coming out with it, I was like, oh.
I feel like the formula is going to be fire. Like, I feel like her formulas for everything else are just so incredible that I feel like the powder foundation is just going to be like excellent. Like, I've heard so many great things about the translucent powders, and I feel like if it's anything that's comparable to that, plus the foundation is really good too.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be
I have the setting powder, like the setting powder. I have it in I can't remember the shade, but I have it. And I used it all the time. I used it today. It's great. It's perfect. I've never gotten flashback from it, so beautiful. I love it. Amazing. The foundation I love.
Amazing formula. Very full coverage.
I'm happy. Yes, I have a highlighter though. I love it. I've used it in some, because it's like a pale pink, and then like a purple with like blue reflex.
Ooh, and it's like an iridescent look.
Yes, and I've used both of them as highlighters, like a topper to my blush, just kind of dusted, and it's like gives the perfect kind of like, yes, like the perfect shine, not too much, but if you do want to like amp it up, you can. I've used it as a inner corner highlight.
Beautiful.
I've used it as a lid color too. Like,
I love those types of products where you can use them like so many different ways. I love
anything. Yeah, I love that. And I literally use everything for anything. If it's meant to go on my face, I'm going to use it for anywhere on my face.
Anywhere, yeah.
Totally. I don't know if some things are safe, but I mean, like, I'm still going to use it.
So one thing I will say is that with regards to makeup, like, there are no rules. There are rules in terms of the techniques. Like, if you're looking to become a makeup artist, or if you're looking to become like an expert at the technique of makeup artistry, but with regards to like the purpose of makeup, or like the purpose of a blush, or whatever the case, like, there's no rules. Like, you can use a blush on your eyelids. You can use a bronzer on your eyelids. You can use a lip liner in your inner waterline. Who cares? Like, everything is good for your face, right? So like, if you can find a different method of using a specific product, like, do it, because there's so much there's so many lines that you can cross that are like, can actually like be insanely beautiful. Like if you use them in the right way, like, you know, like that's why I love makeup. There's no rules. Like you can do whatever you want, and as long as it looks bomb, you look bomb, right? No one's gonna know the difference.
Exactly. No one's gonna know that. Exactly. Nobody's gonna know that you use lip gloss as your inner corner highlight. Like no one's gonna know.
No one's gonna know.
No one's gonna know you use eyeshadow as blush. No one's gonna know.
Exactly.
You know? I've seen people use eyeshadow for lipstick, like to mattify lipstick. So I'm like, that's lit. Like, you know,
honestly,
you use it for a purpose. I would have never thought to do it.
I've used eyeshadow as a lipstick in one of the podcasts, actually. I think it was the one with Miranda.
Really?
I
haven't done it.
It's so easy. It's so easy. You just prime your lips like with a concealer, or just like make sure that it's like a nice base, and then you just tap it on. And oh my God, if you have a lip brush and you can make those lines precise, even better. Honestly, it looks so good. And if you put a lip gloss on top, okay, now we're talking.
Even better, right? It's like it's extra poppin'.
So good. It is so good. And I feel like I feel like a lot of people may look at something and think, okay, this is the reason for its existence. Like for instance, eyeshadow, because it's supposed to be on your eyes. But think of it in a different way too. Like you can break those barriers. You can be like, okay, this eyeshadow would look bomb as a blush. Why not? This eyeshadow could look bomb as a lipstick. Let's do it. If this eyeshadow looks bomb as a highlight, do it up. Like there's so many different options available in makeup. Like it's just, you have to think outside the box.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I use a powder foundation for my contour. Because there hasn't really been any like specified items that say bronzer or that they're meant for contouring that are in shades that complement my skin tone or that
1000%. I'm still on the look for it.
Right. So I just find a foundation that has the right undertones for me, a powder foundation that has the right undertones for me, and I just use that. Sometimes I use blush like as my base for my contour, and then like on my cheeks, and then I contour. Like
what I'm super interested and intrigued about is the like the Fenty powder foundation, because there's so many shades. Like right now I would say the shade range that is the most inclusive, and I'm not saying this because I work for them, but it would be MAC. Like literally there are so many dark skinned girls that I've seen come into MAC, or just in general, like even before I worked at MAC, like they would only say, I go to MAC and I only shop at MAC because they have my shade. And it's like,
they have my color.
1000%. So I'm curious because I'm wondering how it's going to compete. I wonder if, you know, girls from MAC, now that they've used it for how many years, are going to be like, no, it's okay. I'm going to go and get my powder foundation from Fenty. I wonder how the competition is going to be. I'm very curious.
Yeah. I feel like, you know what? I think it's going to be, it'll be good competition because, you know, MAC has been such the leader in makeup for such a long time, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, now that Fenty is out and they have like, you know, all these shades and different undertones, you know, that's a little bit different, you know, that changes things, you know? All the other girls had to step themselves up.
Are you saying it's different from MAC?
You know, with MAC, I'm not saying that, no, because MAC has like NC and W, like they have different.
My girl knows.
I know, because my older sister used to only buy MAC, so and I know she was a NC something, so I know that there are Yes. So I definitely know there are different, you know, they do work with different undertones, but a lot of other brands, like when they start getting into the deeper shades, they don't specify, or they don't, it's like one tone and then one undertone, and then they move on to the next tone. And but there are so many different tones within that shade or that that shade, you know? Exactly. There's olive, there's yellow, there's red, you know, there's neutral. So it's like, how do you pick, or how do you just make one shade with one undertone to fit everybody that would fall under that shade?
Can I be honest? I would say like the one brand that I remember, and it's not to throw shade or anything, but the one brand that I remember that a lot of people like gave them slack for it is Tarte, because Tarte.
Yes, I was like Tarte. Yes.
Yeah, because Tarte Shape Tape is, I'm gonna say, probably the best concealer I've ever used in my life. Like the best concealer.
You know what? I've never used Tarte Shape Tape, but only because it's so expensive.
Yes, so I will say that yes, it is quite expensive, but I feel like it's worth it. Like you will have that concealer for a while. Like the dollars are worth it. I promise you. The one thing though that
I agree.
The one thing that I wanted to say with Tarte is that when they did do their foundations, it was literally what you're saying, Shenelle, where they said, okay, let's do 6 foundations that are in a darker shade. And they were literally like, I'm going to say like such a difference between like the shade, like the
shade
order
to
of
the
it.
Like next shade.
There's such a gap. There was such a gap in that. And it's like people obviously like if my shade is in between this shade and this shade, clearly you don't have it. And clearly you don't care. Like that's the thing.
And I'm not buying 2 foundations to mix it to get my shade. Like I don't want to have to do that.
Exactly.
And I feel unfortunately like that's the reality for a lot of us chocolate girls, because you know, it's either you get this and you look ashy for a while, or you get this and you look too dark.
Well,
you get and you mix it together. You know?
I feel like the reason why these brands do that, and it's honestly, it is quite disrespectful, I would say, because I feel like they have a targeted demographic, right? Probably they have more white customers than they do black customers, like if we're just being honest. And maybe that's why because from what I remember, Tarte, like when they came out with that foundation, I forget which foundation it was called, but they came out with it and they had like 1,000,005 pale shades, but they didn't have any shades for darker girls. So it's like
you're like, who is this for? Like,
who is this for?
Like, you don't like makeup, we don't want to wear it.
That's why I feel like it's so important to like really, really appreciate and like shout out the companies that are inclusive, because they could easily do the same thing that Tarte did, for instance, and only target what they want their demographic to be. But when you look at brands like MAC, or if you look at brands like Fenty, they specifically are targeting different shade ranges, which is like that's the stuff. Like that's what I'm looking for. That's what I want in my makeup brand, right? You want to support people that are actually being proactive about those things. Of course, now this brings up a whole different subject of like, okay, whether you have vegan products or whether you have organic products and all of these things, right? These are all conscious decisions that people make.
That is all different. That's all, I mean, that's like here or there, because personally, I'm not really looking for vegan products. It depends. Like if I'm allergic to something, then I'm going to be looking for specific, you know what I mean? And that's why it's important to have brands that are focused on being more vegan and don't test on animals and things like that. Right. Because of course you don't want to be supporting, you know, a brand that's doing these things, because of course, you know, animals are endangered. I mean, us as humans, we're endangered right now. Right. So, I mean, it only makes sense to make sure that things are done properly. But I also think that being inclusive, you know, is a good way to start, you know, is a good way to start, because then it lets people know that there are more options. You know, I'm not just stuck with just MAC, for instance, you know, because MAC is a great brand, but, you know, they may not offer maybe like a matte version. Not saying that they don't. I'm just saying, like, for example, they might not offer something that I'm specifically looking for. But this brand, now that it has my colors and it has my shade,
People love
I can
choice.
for
People
that
love
too.
Choices. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Exactly.
I think it's
Exactly.
so important. Totally.
And which person who loves makeup only buys one brand? You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like, I have powder foundations from NYX, Maybelline. I have different brands, and it's no shade to anybody. It's just I prefer having some options. You know what I mean? If
Absolutely.
this one, maybe I bought this one thinking that it would be better than this one, but it's kind of the same. So I'm like, okay, perfect. This is a dupe for this. Cool. Moving on.
Right.
Okay, this one, maybe this company discontinued this specific formula of this specific thing, but I love the color. So maybe, Fenty has a new something. Let me see, because they got my shade and it's similar, and it's a matte formula, and that's what I'm looking for, because this brand that I loved that offered this doesn't offer this no more. So let me look into this. And so I mean, as long as everybody's inclusive, I'm cool with it. Because for a very long time, which is why I didn't wear makeup until I was like in my, mid 20s, was because I could not find complexion products that matched my skin tone. My mom, she used to use, I think it was Iman,
Oh, I don't
which
even
is
know
a
what that
Black-owned company,
is.
and
Okay.
it was only available in like the hair store or the Bay. Those are the
Okay.
only places you can get it. And I'm like, it's not that accessible. And she runs out. Sometimes it's
They're
not
sold out.
accessible store, yeah, or sold out. So she's like having to like mix and match things, and I'm like, I always thought like, and they only had one type, and it would be like a compact. It was like a creamy texture.
Yeah.
And that's it. And so if she ran out of that, it was over. Like, that's it. You know what I mean? And so I was always like, I need to figure it out. Like, I always was like, I'm never
You
going
need more
to
options.
wear a complexion product. Yeah, I was never gonna wear a complexion product because it's not accessible, and it was It was kind of on the more expensive side because it was so scarce, And now that we have, Fenty, we have NYX, have MAC, and all these other brands that offer more shade ranges, it makes it so much better now.
I agree. I agree.
Girls can go to the drugstore and find their shade now. Before, I mean, even most drugstores, you can't really find your shade. Like, to be honest, I can never, like, now, it's like there's maybe 2 dark shades. Maybe. Like,
I feel like it's a little
at the
strange.
drugstore.
Yeah, I feel like it's a little strange considering like a drugstore foundation would be like a fraction of the price of like one of the more expensive brands, and yet they can't have a wider range selection,
Exactly.
It doesn't really make
Exactly.
sense. To be honest with you though, I will shout out one brand in particular that is absolutely excellent at a wide shade range, in my opinion. I can't speak on behalf of you, Shenelle, like in terms of darker skin girls, but I think it's pretty good. Maybelline, the matte foundation, like I love that foundation. Like I hands down the best drugstore foundation, and it does have a wide range from what I've purchased in my kit, for instance, or whatever the case. But I think they're really, really good.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, like, Maybelline is the only brand that I could actually find my shade in a drugstore. Like, before that, it was nothing. So, and like MAC, again, I wasn't, making that kind of money to go and buy MAC. I like felt overwhelmed going into MAC because I'm like, there's so many things, you know what I mean? And I was just like, ooh, and I was just getting into it. So I wasn't like, okay, let me get this powder foundation, and let me get this liquid foundation, and let me get this concealer over here, and like, ooh, let me get that eyeshadow primer, and like this lip liner, and this lipstick, and this lip gloss. Like, that was too much. I was a lip gloss and mascara kind of girl, you know?
Yeah.
And like, even with mascara, I still wear drugstore mascara. Like if I get a more high-end one in like my BoxyCharm or something, then yeah, I'll be like, oh, I love this. But as soon as it runs out, back to my drugstore because it's more affordable. I just, in certain products, I just don't see the value in buying something that's like $40, like a mascara that's $40, and I can get a mascara from the drugstore that's going to do the exact same thing for $10. I'm going to buy this thing that's $10.
I would say
like, that's just how
I would say my opinion on that is different, actually, surprisingly. And I'm one for bargains, trust me. Like, I'm the bargain queen over here. But I would say mascaras, you cannot go wrong with a high valued mascara. For instance, like Dior Show, best mascara that you can have. Marc Jacobs, I forget what it's called, but Marc Jacobs mascara, excellent. I will use that for the rest of my life, literally. One that I've been really loving, that is also from Sephora, is the Milk Kush mascara by good, delicious.
I just got that.
Oh god,
but I'm already using a mascara, so I haven't used that one yet because I don't want to open it and then
let it dry
goes
out.
back.
Oh my god, this mascara, let me tell you, is so excellent. Like excellent.
Listen, I love Milk as a brand. Like I love their products. So when I got it, I was so happy about it. Like I put it on a special side of my makeup drawer because I was like, well, the drawer that has my mascaras in it. I'm like, oh, I can't wait. Once this one is done, once this L'Oreal Lash Paradise is done, I'm going straight to that one because
although L'Oreal mascaras are excellent. The telescopic
Lash
mascara.
Paradise, Lash Paradise is an like identical dupe for
Better Than Sex.
Yes, the Better Than Sex.
I knew
exactly, because I got the Better Than Sex in a BoxyCharm. Yeah. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. And then I was like, well, I heard that the L'Oreal is a dupe, so let me get that. And
it was? That's good to know.
It does the exact same thing. It makes your eyelashes look like it's like
beautiful.
It's like you grew all of these lashes. It makes you feel like, or it makes it look like you have false lashes on, and that's the objective.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good mascara. That's a really good mascara.
So the next item on the the recent launch list is the Dragon Beauty setting powder and the setting spray. So the setting powder came in 2 shades. One was translucent, and I believe the next one was like a banana color. And then the setting spray, I don't know if it was supposed to be dewy or matte, but there was some controversy with the setting sprays.
Why?
Because, I was watching Manny MUA.
Yeah.
And he had some like little pieces floating around in the setting spray. Like he shook it thinking it would like dissolve, didn't. Then another influencer, same thing happened.
What particles were it? Like, was it like what kind
of? So Manny was thinking like, oh, maybe it's glitter, right? So let me shake it and like it'll dissolve. Like maybe it's just like a clump and it didn't go away. Then, after a while, we come to find out that like a couple of the PR packages that went out had that same issue. And people are like, maybe it's mold because it could have been old, or like, some products like grow mold in it. So I was like,
that's not good.
Right. And then also another thing about it is that it had a really strong fragrance smell, like a strong perfumey smell. And personally, I like for my setting sprays to not smell like anything because I'm going to be putting on perfume. So why do I need my setting spray to have a smell? Right. It was just kind of like everybody who sprayed it, every review of it that I watched, they sprayed it and they didn't like the smell because it was too overpowering.
Got it.
and it like lasted. Like after it dried down and everything, and the smell was still there. It wasn't a bad smell. It was just like it smelled like you were spraying perfume on your face.
Got it.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then
it's interesting because I've heard so many people, like especially like skincare by Hiram says like you should not wear fragrance too much because it can make your skin sensitive, which is true, but at the same time, like if I know what my skin can handle, then I'm comfortable with it, right? And I feel like for the longest time, my setting spray was MAC Fix Plus. Holla at MAC once again. But for the MAC Fix Plus, such a great product. But I actually love the coconut scent. I'm obsessed. That's like my ride or die.
Right, but it's not like super strong. You're not like walking around smelling it after.
I don't think so. If anything, it would just be like maybe on my face, but I don't think it lingers. Like I don't think it's like an overwhelming.
Yeah, like after it dries, the smell dissipates.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So, and that's another thing. Like most setting sprays don't really have a smell, or if they do have a smell, it's very light. Same with like products like setting powders, and things like that. Like the Fenty one has like kind of like it smells kind of like a candy, but again that goes away. You don't smell like that, and it's soft. It's very soft and gentle, and then it goes away, right? So I don't really like lip glosses. I expect a smell,
right?
Because it's lip gloss. It's right under your nose. You're going to be smelling it. But again, like the one I'm wearing Wet Cherry. This is like basically done.
Nice.
It smells like cherry, but now that it's on, I don't smell it. When I was putting it on, I smelt it. But now that I'm wearing it, I don't smell it. So it's like scents have to... I don't want it to linger.
Right.
I don't want it to linger. If it's not perfume that I sprayed on myself, I don't want it to linger. If it's in my products, it needs to go away. Like it's a nice surprise when you're putting it on, like, ooh, it smells so good. And once it's gone, it's gone. Like I need it to be gone,
Right.
So that is...
I agree to an extent. Because I'm a scented setting spray girl, so I'm okay with it, I would think, but who knows? Maybe it's like really overpowering. I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of sensitive to smells. Like certain smells give me headaches. Some smells make me feel nauseous. So unless it's like something fruity or kind of like sweet smelling, like I don't want it. If it's floral, oh hell no.
Same. I hate floral scents. I don't like them.
Yeah.
And that's probably weird for us to say as women, but honestly, I can't do it.
Honestly, like flowers are pretty, but I'm not gonna go and be like there's no way, because the smell, like it's nice. Like some people like it, some people love it, but it gives me a headache. It makes me feel nauseous. I have a really bad headache after, and then nobody wants to talk to me because I'm a bitch, because I smelled some things I smelled was making me feel like that. Yeah, I just think brands need to be cognizant of that, because just as much as there are people who love the scent, there are people who don't.
Oh yeah, there's people that are extremely sensitive and that they can get an allergic reaction if they,
Exactly. So it's like you have to be kind of gentle or with the scents that you are putting in your products, because again, for your market, there's literally half of the market wants the smell and half doesn't. So if you're going to be putting the smell in, you also have to consider the people who don't want the smell, because then half of your market is going to stop buying your product because of the scent or the scent.
We should be like a PR team for any brand, because I feel like
send us your PR. Send us. Last but not least, we're going to talk about Gorilla Glue Girl.
Oh yeah, oh my god, poor woman. Poor woman. You know what? Let's just talk about this real quick. Let's just talk about this real quick, because I'm a girl that doesn't use got to be hairspray. I don't use none of these things, right? But I was talking to another girlfriend of mine, and she's like of color, and she was saying, there is hairspray that's called Gorilla something. Is that true, Shenelle? Do you use
It's
that?
called, yeah, I don't use it, but there is out there, but it's called Gorilla Snot. Or sorry.
Okay, there you go. Yes.
Maybe it is Gorilla Glue, but the packaging is different. It's similar, but it's different. And
to me,
it's
question
typically says gel. It's like meant for your
exactly.
hair.
And so for me, I was very confused because I'm like, my girl, really, you can't see the difference between I Got to Be hairspray and Gorilla Glue. And then so she brought that point to me, is that like there is a product on the market called like Gorilla Snot or whatever the case. So I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
that makes more sense that like you're gonna confuse the two, because obviously Gorilla Glue and Gorilla Snot are extremely similar. But it's like, because that's what I was confused about. I'm like, girl, how can you confuse it? How can you confuse the two? Like,
Exactly.
And then
that's exactly what I said, because I'm like, how, like, number one, on it says adhesive. It says adhesive, which means if I read something and I'm going to put in my hair and it says adhesive, that means it's like industrial.
It's not for my hair.
That means it's not meant for my skin or my hair.
Right.
Therefore, I'm not putting it on my skin or my hair. Like, even when I'm using super glue, I know that shit's not supposed to touch my skin. Why? Because every time it touches my skin, it's a terrible time.
Right.
So I'm not going to put it directly on my skin. I'm usually gluing something together and then it gets on my skin, and then whatever happens.
Exactly.
But I'm not deliberately putting it on there. So I 100% agree. Like, it was a mistake she made, and it was a stupid mistake, and she knows it was stupid, but girl.
I was thinking, I was telling my girlfriend, I was like, can you imagine if because apparently the doctor that actually helped her out in the hospital did it for free. So God bless his soul. Because that is such, like, I was thinking, I'm like, imagine this woman, she, instead of thinking, okay, let me just go grab another Got to Be hair glue or Got to Be hairspray, which is like what, $3 or whatever the case, instead use something else that now she has to go to the hospital and have a hospital bill in the United States of America that every time you go to the hospital, it costs you probably thousands of dollars. And then just so that you can have your hairstyle? Do another hairstyle. What's
girl? It's not even that serious. She said she uses it she sprays the spray, the Got to Be glued hairspray to finish off her hair when she like slicks it, right?
Right.
So the Gorilla Glue wasn't necessary. It wasn't necessary for her hairstyle.
Not at all.
Her hairstyle was already complete. She just does that for extra measure. She didn't need it. So she got really lucky that doctor figured out how to help her and was able to save the majority of her hair.
My God.
But girl,
never in my life would I ever do that. I know.
Like, there's a level of like sense that, like, you like think about things critically before you do it.
Right.
Like me, 16, maybe I'd have been like, let me try this, because again, not critically thinking, I'm stupid, like most 16-year-olds don't have that common sense to be like, that's a bad idea. A 10-year-old me would have definitely did it and been like, oh shit, you know what I mean? But as an adult, she's like, I think she's in her, like, she's grown, and she put that in her hair. So I was like, oh, bad for her. But at the same time, I was like, girl, you knew better. You knew better. Because I'm sure you did not buy that to put it in your hair.
Exactly.
I'm almost 100% sure you did not buy that to put in your hair. Because number one, wherever you bought it was not in the hair section.
Exactly.
It wasn't in the hair section.
Don't you have to hold the product in order for you to like be like, okay, where's the nozzle? For me to point it at myself to put it in my hair. You have to look at the product in order to put it in your hair, no?
Let's talk about it. let's talk about it. Listen, she got all of like that was on her scalp, like her head,
It was
like I'm
literally
thinking
like the
when I
slickest
do my
thing
hair,
ever. It was so slick.
that's
It
what I'm
was
saying.
like it was leather. It looked like something like that.
Yes, it looked like straight up leather, like a leather coat, like that's what it looked like a leather couch, like it looked like that.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I'm like, I was just thinking, like, I mean, when I watched it, I laughed. I laughed very hard because I was like, well, what did you think was going to happen? You sprayed adhesive in your hair.
I
You
was
didn't
like,
go into the store,
was that your
into the hair section and find that in the hair section.
was that your first reaction, Shenelle, when you saw that? You were like laughing?
Yes. I'm not gonna lie.
I was like, the first reaction that I had was like, this can't be real. I'm like, this can't be real. You can't be telling me that you didn't know the difference between a Gorilla Glue and a hairspray. Really? Really? You're what? Over 30 years old? Whatever. Like, you're a grown ass woman. What?
She knew better. She's 40. She knew better. She knew better.
What is going on? But the
when
thing,
you bought it,
the thing though is, I feel like
section.
your emotions change though, because you go on the ride with her, right? Like you go through the emotions and you're like, girlfriend, I feel really bad for you. Like you really fucked up, man.
When you realize that like her hair is going to be like this for a long time, unless she
does something. Yeah. That's when it's like, that's when it changes to like, are you serious? I feel really bad. Like I feel really bad for you. Like you must be going through it at this moment. But
I did feel really bad. Like I laughed really hard, and then like as the story like developed, I was like, oh my God, like I feel really bad. Like honestly, it was a dumb mistake, and like she even said, she's like, it was dumb, it was stupid, but nobody deserves to like have to go through that pain and that.
You know what though? I would say it's a good learning lesson, not for her, not only for herself, but for everyone else that is like, pay attention to what you're doing. Like, don't just take the easy way out, or let me take this, what is the word that I'm looking for? I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but pretty much like the
like the
quick way out. Like don't
let me just try a thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can't always just try a thing.
Because to be honest with you, the thing that like really resonated me with like the most was this girl could have just waited and spent $3. Obviously, if she had to pay for the medical bill, it would have been a comparison of like over $1,000 compared to like $3. And it's like, can you tell me where the sense of that is? Like, but I do feel bad. I do feel bad, but
I really do. I felt terrible for her because I was like,
every girl was going through it. Every girl was going through it with her. Every girl was like I feel terrible for
let's
you,
be
girl.
honest, who hasn't used hair glue as eyelash glue? Everybody does it, right? But the difference with the hair glue,
are you kidding me, Shenelle? Don't tell me. No. Sorry, I have to stop you there. No. Never in my life say this to me again. No. Hair glue is not the same as lash glue. Let's.
No, it's not. It's similar. It's not meant to be there forever. That's what I meant by when I say they're similar, because hair glue is meant to not stay in your hair forever. That piece of hair that you glue to your hair is meant to come off at
temporary.
Just like the lashes, it's temporary. It's not meant to stick permanently, affix it to your head.
Got it.
Right?
Okay.
That's why
I'm on that same page with you now.
Exactly. That's why a lot of people use hair glue to put their lashes on, because they're like, it's the same. Similar.
But can I just like a PSA, public statement? Okay, like
don't do it.
Please don't. I'm a certified lash tech, okay? And I can guarantee that if you have anyone trying to put some hair glue into your eyelashes, okay, either extensions or clusters of lashes, run the opposite way, because this person
don't do
has
it.
no idea what they're doing, and the integrity of your natural lashes, and not only that, maybe even you're blind at the end of the day, like, or your eyesight is affected. Like, you don't want that in your life. And I just want everyone to know that eyelash glue,
lash glue is not expensive.
Is
the same
different.
amount that you paid for the hair glue is the same amount you can pay for some lash glue at the beauty supply. It's the same price. They're both at the front counter. They're both there when you pay. When you pick up the hair glue, you pick up a lash glue too.
Although I will say something else. I do not recommend anyone put eyelash extension glue on their lashes by themselves. I don't recommend it.
Oh, see, okay, so I knew somebody who wanted that eyelash extension glue to put on strip lashes, because
Absolutely
they're like, oh,
not.
I just don't want to have to take them off and put them back on. And I'm like,
Absolutely
I don't think that glue is supposed to touch your skin.
It's not. And on top of that, if that gets into your eyeballs, you can literally go blind. So I highly recommend no one does.
Glue your eyes shut. The fuck?
Yeah.
You can glue your eyes shut.
If you want some strip eyelashes, just use natural, like the lash glue that you find at Shoppers. Like, just use that like lash adhesive. That's what you want, not lash glue, because lash glue is for lash extensions. And people that like, for instance, myself, or
I don't think you can buy that at the beauty supply.
You cannot. And that's why I just want to make it extremely clear for people. Hair glue and lash glue are completely separate and should not be interchangeable. Absolutely not. Let's set the record straight. If you want some strip lashes, my girl, lash glue is available at Shoppers Drug Mart. The Duo, the green one with the vitamins, is my favorite if anyone wants to know. But you need to
It's available at the beauty supply too, girl.
My girl. So you have to be
wherever they sell lashes, they got the glue.
Yes, but don't do it yourself. That's another thing. Don't do it yourself. Do it like a certified lash tech will help you put some lash extensions on. You don't do that stuff yourself, because you will literally pay the price. Don't be like this woman. Don't be the got to be glue gorilla glue woman. Don't do it. That's my word of advice.
That's my word of advice too, because again, not something I would have done. Everything, I always think about it. I'm like, what is the next thing that could potentially happen if I do this? That is always my thought.
It's like, be proactive. Be proactive. Find out before you do things. Google is a very excellent source of information. Why don't we Google it? See, okay, can I use Gorilla Glue on my scalp? Absolutely not. So don't do it. If you can, like, if you're wondering, can I use hair glue as lash glue? Absolutely not. Google it. Like, make yourself aware of these things, girlfriend. You can save yourself a lot of time, a lot of everything. Just be proactive. Be proactive and find out yourself. That's my 2 cents.
Yes. And with that being said, we are at the end of our episode today, guys. Yeah. Thank you for being along on this journey.
Yes, this episode was really
Oh, yes,
good.
Sarah.
Yeah.
Do you have anything coming up?
Yeah,
that
I do.
Would like to promote?
I do. I have a master class that I'm going to be hosting, my second one. So I'm very excited. And it's going to be on February 27th at 1 p.m. That's on a Saturday. So no one will be working, hopefully, unless you're working on a Saturday. But holla at your girl. I can try and do something for you if I record it or whatever. But if anyone wants to know how to create an everyday makeup look that's really easy to do in the morning, and also your top 4 products that you need in your morning routine for your skincare, this is what I would be covering. And if you are interested, the sign up is in my bio. So check it out.
Yes. And I think this episode is going to come out a little bit after, but Sara will also be having more masterclasses coming up. So stay posted. Make sure you check her Instagram often, as well as the Perfect Blend podcast Instagram, because we will post, repost her posts on there. So
and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and on Spotify, follow us so that we miss an episode.
Exactly. So since we're at the end, you guys already know, let's be cute,
be you, and stay blended. Awesome.
Yes. Bye, girls. Bye.